Good evening. Hi, is everyone? Hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dee, Wendy, welcome. Musembi, welcome. It's good to have you all here. I want us to have a very interesting discussion. Your questions are welcome as well. If you have any questions about the topic of the day, today we're just talking about how to make money online. How to make money as a content creator. So if you can, please make sure that you tap so that we get more people on the stream. Share with your friends who are content creators as well. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat so we can be able to go through them, and I'll be able to answer as well as I give you my thoughts on one of the things that you can be able to do in order to make money as a content creator. Tausi, nice to see you here. Ken, good evening. I usually start by acknowledging especially the people who come in early. So if you hear your name, just say hi back so that I feel I'm talking to people. Ngirita, welcome. Facet Duck, I hope that's the correct way of mentioning that. Ruth the car dealer, interesting. Thank you for following as well. Welcome. Lorraine, welcome. Shivani Ismana. Miruri, thank you for the likes on the live. It's good to have you people here. Make sure that you follow me if you're not yet doing that. And then we can get into the crux of it. Okay. So I think the very first place to start is, Annalisa, nice to see you here. I think the very first place to start is an acknowledgement that people are starting to realize, and I think that is across the board. People are starting to realize that there is money to be made online. For quite a while, hi Grace, for quite a while, especially with our parents and this generation that is getting a bit old, there was this pathway to how to make wealth. You needed to become a doctor, you needed to become an engineer, lawyer, all those things. And those were the careers that people could be able to make money. It's just in the last mostly 10, 15, 20 years that you're able to start seeing people in alternative careers start making money and start actually making a difference in their society and in alternative careers. One of the most prominent in my mind right now is Tekla Lorupe. So if you go to Eldred in the CBD, she has a building named after her that I think she owns as well. So that for me was one of those times when you'd look at something and you'd be like, so these people make money. And I think one of the others was just seeing people like Catherine Dareba, Eliud Kipchoge now is the talk of town. All these people in different careers that are not the normal careers, and people are making money. I even remember a few years ago, I had this story about Dennis Oliech going to his bank and insisting he wanted cash because he wanted to go buy a car. And the bank had to explain to him, we can transfer that money through this method, things like that. But he was like, no. I want my money. I want cash so that I go and buy the car, which they had to actually organize security, things like that, so that he could go to, was it DTW or something like that? Mama 3D, just seen you on Susie's Homestead. Yes, she's my friend, and we did that collaboration last weekend. We did there's like 6 or 7 videos that we did together on that particular day. So it's good to see you here as well. And so in this, Mary Ikucha, is that you in an LPG advert I saw some time back? Oh my goodness. Hey, you people, Sorora me everywhere. Yes, that was me. Afrigas. That was 2020. So my point is, there are people who are making money in different other careers that have nothing to do with the formal careers that we are used to. Of course, there are still people making money in being lawyers and being doctors and being engineers and all those things. But now people are actually, quote unquote, pushing the younger folks towards this alternative careers because that's where the new money is coming in. And so as you go through this, you will notice that there is a caliber of, let me not call it a caliber, there's a crop of content creators who are really making it big, but they're very few. And then there's a whole number of content creators just trying to get into the space, barely making it, just paying their bills, things like that. And that's a bigger majority. So what I intend to do with this series of how to make money as a content creator is to make this information public. Because no matter how many people you look for, Kinga, nice to see you here, more nice to see you here. No matter how many people you talk to, ask them, how do you make money as a content creator? They won't tell you. Or they just tell the very small circle of people around them. Because so many people have a scarcity mindset when it comes to money. And the scarcity mindset states that if so many people are available to eat this cake, the pieces of the cake become smaller, that everyone now gets a smaller piece of cake. When the truth is that the more content creators learn how to be able to make money, the more money will come into the space. This is what happens, and I need you to understand this so that as a content creator, your mind is opened up to that fact. Please make sure that you're sharing this with people who need this information. The world of money is controlled by attention. And this is important for you to understand, because once you understand this, you'll be able to see why I need more people to make money in content creation. So this is how it works. Corporates, companies, these big companies that have money, they go where the attention is. So what you have as a content creator is you have an audience. Right now we are about 7,000 followers here, about 50 people watching. If I was to sell something today to you, then that's money. As a brand, as a content creator, that's money for the brand that I'm promoting, if it's my own brand and things like that. So someone can be able to see the value of that particular audience because they can see how people spend. So if the people who are watching have money that they can spend on a particular brand, they become valuable to a brand, okay? And the bigger the audience is, or the wealthier an audience is, the more valuable it is to a brand. Now, the biggest disconnect that's there for so many content creators is that you don't know how to value your audience. And secondly, you don't know how to translate that value into money for yourself as a content creator and be able to share those analytics with a brand so that they can pay you the money you want to be paid. So that's why I'm here, just to help you be able to see this. So for instance, a brand like, let's quote Safaricom, because it's the biggest company in the country. A brand like Safaricom, whatever they're aiming for from the market is not really market share, because they already have the market share, okay? So what they want is for their brand to stick in the minds of the everyone, okay? That's where they are. They're at a point where they want you to think of them every time you're doing anything. I'll give you a good example. I went last week to Parklands. There's a building called, what's the name of this building? It's just on First Parklands. It's a first building that's there that houses I&M Bank. Now, anytime you go validate your card for parking, usually I use MPESA. I rarely carry cash. And that's how deep MPESA integration is, because every single parking has MPESA integrated to it, not this one. So what we had to do, and there were several people there, because the nearest MPESA place that you can find is close to like 5-6 minutes walk from that particular building. There's no MPESA agent in that building. So now what you have to do is use your debit card, go and withdraw cash from the ATM so that you can come back to the ATM to now withdraw. Extremely frustrating. So what MPESA wants you to do, and what Safaricom wants to happen to you, is that you feel like when you have MPESA, you have cash, okay? So that's what that brand wants. Now for you as a content creator, once you understand what the brand wants, what you offer them is very different from what you would offer a company like Telkom or Airtel, who's actually fighting to get market share, okay? And the way you would brand yourself as a solutions provider, because that's what a content creator is, the way you'd brand yourself will be very different, okay? But we'll go into that. So I want you to understand that the more people grow as content creators, the more people are watching them, the more attention they have, then a brand will actually look and say, we are not getting a good return on investment, because that's a good word you should learn, ROI. We are not getting a good return on investment in radio or on TV. We would rather use this money to go on social media and pay influencers to talk about us. And the reason for this is what these people do every 90 days. And it's important for you to understand this. Every end of the quarter, the marketing department has to sit down and say, this is how much money we spent marketing this brand. This is how much return we have received from marketing the brand. Okay? ROI is a one number that every single company lives and dies on. If something is not bringing a return to them, they'll not spend money on it. Okay? So the thing is, as a content creator, you have the biggest ROI right now on social media. A company advertising itself will not get a better return than a content creator advertising a brand, because every single content creator has created that trust between themselves and their audience, between themselves and their community. And that's important for you to understand, because people buy from people they trust and people they like. So the moment you hear me talking about a particular brand, if you already like me, if you already trust me, then it's easier for you to make that buying decision than if the brand itself came and said, we are the best in the game. Okay? So that's important for you to understand the power that you hold as a content creator, because you are the gatekeeper to the paying audience that this brand is looking to talk to. And it's important for you to be able to understand as well, which kind of people do you speak to, who are part of your audience, what's your audience avatar. All these things are important for you to realize, because when you get into those meetings, especially because so many content creators don't have talent managers, you don't have brand managers, all these things, it's important for you to understand how these brands think, so that when you get into those meetings, you actually get the money you're looking for. Okay? So this is where I want to actually start from. As a content creator, how do you brand yourself? How do you present yourself so that a brand will come to you and they'll understand this person knows what they are doing? And I'll keep it really simple tonight because I don't want the live to go on too long. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll answer them as we go on. Now, as a content creator, so many of us, I wish I had somewhere I was reading, but we are just moving. As a content creator, each of us starts with 0 followers. Every one of us starts with 0 followers. However, the journey as a content creator is very different for every single person, because every single person has their own background. There are some people who are lucky enough that they have an audience from another platform or from offline that they bring online, so they're able to grow their numbers very quickly. That is a very small percentage of content creators all around. The rest of us, the majority of us, everyone starts from 0 and you have to work for every single one of them. And so what happens is, as you grow your audience, it's important for you, before you even start growing your audience, to understand or to have an idea of what you want to be known for. Because it's very easy to grow an audience that expects something very different from what you expect to be doing long term. And this is what I mean with this. When you're starting off as a content creator, you don't know what people will like, right? And you have this different passion. So you create a video here, you do an article there, you do a photo there, different things. But what tends to happen is, most of the time, people resonate to the thing that is controversial, to the thing that is negative, things like that. So you find that people know you, or you grow faster because you're either cussing out everyone or you have a beef with everyone. Like, there are content creators like that. So that's what you get known for. But if that was not your intention to get known for that, you have a problem, because you cannot sustain that. You cannot keep on doing that. So it's important for you to be strategic about what you want to be known for early enough before an audience shows up, so that the brand promise that you're giving out, the thing that you're promising people that you will be doing, you are able to do this over the long term. And you also want to position yourself in such a way that whenever brands want to work with people in that particular sector, it's called a niche, in that particular niche, they always think of you. They always come to you. Okay? And so as you build yourself, you need to look at who is doing the thing I want to be doing for a very long time. So that you look at, what are they doing? What is their audience responding to? Because if you do a similar video, your audience will most likely respond to that. And that's exactly how I started. When I was starting my YouTube channel in 2018, I actually went on the site to look for who was doing videos similar to what I wanted to do, or talking about the same subjects I would want to talk about. And then what I found out at that time when I was starting off is that there were 2 videos by a content creator, and they were 2 years apart. Like, they did a video in 2016 and 2015 or 2017. 2016 and 2017. Same video, different years. And both videos had over 40,000 views. And their channel had close to 10,000 subscribers. So I told myself, wait, this person has just done these 2 videos on the channel and they already have 10,000 subscribers. That means that there is an audience of at least 10,000 people who can subscribe to my channel if I did something similar. And that's how I started, because that was a niche I wanted to get into. So my secret at that time was I wanted to make sure that if ever someone searches for that the same way that I did, they'd find 20 videos of mine and 2 from that content creator. So what would that tell that person? That in this particular area, this person is the expert. Look at how many videos he has done. And so what that did for that particular year, it got me to 1,000 subscribers by the end of that year. And I still continued making more content in that niche because I wanted to be known for that. And that was essentially the foundation that I built my social media on. And because it was a subject that I loved talking about, then I could be able to do that. Even if you woke me up in the morning and ask me, so which businesses can I start? I'd be like, you can start this business, you can start this business. And if you asked me, what should I do? If I want to start this business, what should I do? I can be able to tell you, do ABCD, you'll be fine. Because that was my passion, that was my expertise as well. And I knew how to be able to do videos around that. And so with time, it got to a point where, and this happens most of the time, you get to a threshold where you feel like you've been talking about things over and over again, the same things, that you now need some variety. Okay? So what happened now for me, and that was at the start of 2021, I started talking about crypto at the same time that I'm talking about business. So that the people who've already signed up don't leave. And if there are brands that are looking for me or have found those particular videos they find, I still do them and we can be able to work together. So I started talking about crypto. And then it got to a point where I'm talking more about crypto than I'm talking about business. There are people who don't even know that I was talking about business. They know me as a crypto guy. And then it gets to a point when, as a content creator, other content creators who want to get to where you are start asking you questions about how do you grow a YouTube channel. So even without thinking about it, and you'll see this, every content creator does this, they get to a certain point and then they start doing as well videos about how to grow on YouTube, because those questions always come. And there are always questions about which camera do you use, which editing platform do you use, all these things. They're to serve a very small packet of content creators who are now your subscribers as well. But it also helps to build the other content creators who are behind you. And so what happens with time is that by the time I was getting to 20,000 subscribers, one brand after the other started getting in touch because of the kind of content that I do is along what they do as well. So this is what typically happens. Most of the time, brands are the ones who reach out. You can reach out to brands, but those discussions, most of the time, are usually skewed to who asked who out first. Let me repeat that. In order to have the upper hand in brand negotiation, and especially when you want to make money through collaborating with brands, most of the time, it's who speaks to who first that has the lower hand. If you are the one spoken to, like if it's an inbound email, you have an upper hand because they have already shown interest in you. So if someone is showing interest in you, quote unquote, you can be sweet for them. And then this kind of shows you that someone is watching my content enough that they see the audience I have is worth paying to be in front of. Because as a content creator, you need to treat yourself as a media company. That's one lesson that I learned some time back. You need to understand that as a content creator, you are competing with KTN, you're competing with CNN, you're competing with BBC, you're competing with KUTV, TV47. All these are your competitors. One reason why is you have an audience, and when people are watching you, they're not watching all these other platforms. People are watching you on social media, they are not watching TV. So that means that you want the brands to come to you and advertise on your platform and not on another platform. So what you want them to understand is, I am valuable, this is my value, so pay me my value so that I can be able to show your name to the people who trust me and they follow me. And so with time, even when the first brands were reaching out, I had no idea what I needed to do in order to get good money from them. Right now, it's a good rate that I charge, but then I could make more. I know I could make more. So what I do now consciously is that every few months, I keep on increasing my prices just a little more for the new people who are coming in, so that every consequent brand that you work with, you get paid better and better. That's really important. It's important that even though today you may have 2,000 followers and tomorrow you have 2,500 followers, it doesn't mean that your rate should move from 2,000 to 2,500. No. It just means that you need to switch it up. As your audience grows, your money is not supposed to grow linearly. It's supposed to grow with multiples. That's the thing, right? And the way you value your audience will be very different for so many people. And the rates that I give out may not be the same rates that someone with 100,000 followers or 200,000 followers may be doing. I may even get paid better than some of those people, but it's also because of understanding how to negotiate with a brand, how to be able to show that you're worth the money they are spending. Because this is a secret that you need to understand. Every single brand that reaches out to you to work with you has a budget, and they are looking for an excuse to spend that money. But how much money they end up spending depends on how you present yourself and what you can be able to offer them that they can't get anywhere else. So I'll give you an example. And make sure you're gifting me as I give you all these tips that will make you money. This is what happens when a brand approaches me as a brand, because I'm a brand as well. What we want to do is a collaboration. I'm not working for you. We are collaborating. We are partners. That's one thing that you need to understand whenever a brand approaches you. You are an influencer on their campaign, but you are also an independent brand that they are choosing to attach their name to work with them. But you also need to understand this. You are attaching your name to their brand, or in this case, you are giving legitimacy to their brand. Because to your followers, you are the one and all. You are the guru. You're the one we trust. This brand that is coming in requires your endorsement in order for them to be able to make inroads into your audience. This is really important. Whenever you're speaking to a brand, never speak to a brand like they are more important than you. They may have more money than you. They may have more employees than you. They may have a better balance sheet than you, but they need you. That's the reason why you are in that conversation with them. Now, I'm not saying these things to try and look braggadocious. However, what you need to understand is your brand, your personal brand on social media as a content creator is really important that you keep it safe and you keep it clean. So don't be desperate to work with every single company. Don't be desperate to take every amount of money that they are offering. It's okay to say no to a brand. I have done that several times. They come with a proposal and I tell them, you know what? That won't do for me. Because let me tell you what that tells them. Is that for you, it's not about the money. Remember, in our hearts, we want to make as much money as possible from a brand. But it's important for them to understand that they can't move you just because they have money. What they are looking for, because this is how brands think, what they are looking for is they're looking for customers. And for a brand, especially the ones that we typically work with, they have a metric that is known as lifetime value of a customer. Now, once you understand the lifetime value of one customer, then you will start charging differently. I'll give you an example. If you go and open a bank account at any bank, I recently did one with one of the banks, and you will realize that there is income targets that they have set. And this is not public information, but there are income targets that they have set for every single customer they onboard. This is the reason why banks will take time and spend money to be able to get customers, because they know the amount of money they will make from that particular client, that particular customer, is more than what they are spending. So they'll spend on roadshows, they'll spend on promotions, they'll spend on their staff, they'll spend on advertising. All this spending that they are doing is always aimed at one thing: to acquire a customer. It's called customer acquisition cost. Now, they always just need to make sure that their acquisition cost is as low as possible. But what they're aiming for is called lifetime value of that customer. So how is that calculated? When you go to the bank and you withdraw money from the counter, there's an amount that they charge you for withdrawing that amount. That is an income they have gotten from you. When you go online and you withdraw money from your mobile banking app to your MPESA and you're charged an amount, that is an income for them. When you go online and check your balance, and probably your bank charges you for the balance that you have checked, that is an amount for them. Every single transaction that you do, as long as you are their customer, from when you are 18 before you got your help to the day you will die at 80 or 90, all that money they make from you is what is known as lifetime value for the customer. And so if someone is going to make $1 million bob over the next 50 years from one client, they are okay with spending 10,000 or even 100,000 to be able to acquire that one customer, because they know they will recoup their money, and then from there they are making profits to the end of days. Understand that. So depending on the brand that comes to you, think of what is the lifetime value of the client they want to get. If someone is selling houses, for instance, if someone is selling houses and you have a real estate channel that advertises housing, if someone has a big flat that has 100 units, how much rent are they getting per month? What is their occupancy? Is it 70%? Is it 80%? Some places, it is always full. So, when they are giving you money, think of how much money are they making? You should get some of that. So this tells you the conversations that you need to have need to be very different from how much is your budget? What are you planning to give me as money, right? So you need to think about, how can I be able to make more money from these people? Because if someone is selling a home worth 100 million, then probably their commissions, if they're a real estate agent, is something like 2% or 2.5%. So that agent is going to make 2.5 million shillings from selling a 100 million shilling home. So this agent who's selling and getting 2.5, he's okay with spending 250,000 to market this home, to do a good video for this home, to do a 3D virtual tour of this home, because he knows he's spending 250 and he will make 10 times that. So for you as a content creator, then think of, what is their lifetime value? How much are they going to make? So how much should I charge? Pendo asks, can you make this a YouTube video? I'll just pick this and put it on YouTube. Okay? I'll just pick this and put it on YouTube, as long as it is. So if you decide to watch it, well and good. Sometimes I just put up videos not because I will make money out of them, but just to help people. Where was I? So now, as a content creator, you realize you need to think differently about how you charge brands. You need to think very differently. You need to understand that the price you are putting on your rate card is already too low, because that brand is most likely able and willing to pay even more, because they know how much money they are going to make once they get that one client. So this is what you need to understand. Look at the niche that you're in. Look at where you want to be known for. And then put a list of which are your dream brands to work with. 10 of them. They're most likely the most popular in the market, things like that. People love what, like if today Coca-Cola came to me and they wanted to work with me, I'd be so happy, because I'd be able to say, I worked with it's prestigious. But the truth of the matter is, it does not equate to the amount of money that you may want to make. Why? Because a brand that is very big most likely doesn't value you as much as a smaller company looking to bring down the big ones. That's the one thing that I realized with time. When you work with a smaller brand, if you work with a brand like Pepsi or Softer, Softer still exists. It shows you how old I am. If you're working with such a brand that is looking to knock off and to knock down Coca-Cola, they are willing to spend more money. If you work with a brand like Airtel, trying to get Safaricom off the #1 space, they're able to spend more money. So it's important for you to realize this. So what you do is if you have an Excel sheet or if you have a notebook, Put your top 10 companies that you'd love to work with. And then under that, especially if this top 10 are the market leaders, and most likely they are, under that, look at who are their competitors. Okay? And I'll give you a very interesting example because this is something I learned some time back. Coca-Cola's biggest rival is not other soda companies. Do you know which is the biggest rival to Coca-Cola? Let me know in the chat. Who do you think is the biggest competitor to Coca-Cola? Keshi Africa says softer. Who is the biggest competitor to Coca-Cola? Tina Sale says Pepsi. Abed is asking, who is it? Mumbi says it's water companies, which is true. Water. Water is the biggest competitor to Coca-Cola. You know why? Because it's not even beer. Don't lie to yourself that it's beer. What Coca-Cola aims to do is to relieve your thirst. Look at the Sprite ads that you watch. Look at the Coca-Cola ads that you watch. Look at the Fanta ads that you watch. All those ads are geared towards one thing: satisfying thirst. So Coca-Cola's main aim is to show you that we are the best at relieving your thirst. That's what they want you to. That's what they want to do. So if they're able to knock down water from being the first thing you think about when you're thirsty, they have won. But that's just a teachable moment. You're like, I need to drop this teachable moment. Let's go back. So as a brand, I'll keep calling you a brand because you need to understand you're a brand. As a brand, for you, it's important to understand where you can be able to work with these brands. You've put the top 10, who are their competitors? Because this 5 each, these 50 companies, you can be able to work with and you can be able to live a very comfortable life. Okay? So this is how I want you to think about how to make money from these brands. Number one, we are not necessarily reaching out to them to try and work with them. We are going to employ a tactic that is in the movie Inception. Okay? And if it's not a movie that you have watched yet, please go and watch it because it's very interesting. And I will not in this live try and explain to you what happens in that movie. But what you want to do is you want to position yourself in such a way, and you want them to get in touch with you, but you want it to be their idea to get in touch with you. Because always it's called Inception. It's by Christopher Nolan, and I think, it was Leonardo DiCaprio who was the main actor. It's called Inception. I think it's a 2010 movie, around there. So what you want is that brand to get in touch with you. So I'll give you very good example. And forgive me, we are using Coca-Cola a lot today. Coca-Cola, if you're watching this, please come to my DMs. Let's continue. So if you want Coca-Cola to get in touch with you, what do you start doing? So you look at, of course, they are working with content creators already. Let me put my phone to charge because I don't want this to go off. Of course, Coca-Cola are working with people right now. They are working with content creators right now. So, what are they currently doing with other content creators? Let me lift you guys up just a little bit. There we go. Of course, they're already working with other content creators. So now you want to ask yourself, how can I be able to be one of those content creators that these guys work with? So what kind of content are these content creators making? Can you be able to make that content? Okay, I'm moving down. My seat is moving down. So I'll move you guys down. There we go. Okay. So if you can be able to make that kind of content, by all means, do it. And what will happen is, because you want that dream brand to work with, what happens is, once you put it up on social media, tag them. Tag them. There are two things that can happen from there. One is the brand itself will see, oh my goodness, this is such good content. Let's DM this person, let's work with them. That's a best case scenario, okay? That may not happen. It's okay. It's okay. We're just putting up content up. The second thing that will happen or may happen is this. Their competitor will get in touch with you asking to work with you. It's very weird, but that's typically what happens. When I shared my very first crypto tutorial, another company got in touch with me, and the very first one I had done for free because I hadn't spoken to that brand. And the second company that got in touch with me came in and asked me what my rate card was to do such a video. Listen to that wording. What my rate card is for doing such a video. Now, I didn't go and say, by the way, you guys, you know that first video I did for free, I didn't even get paid for it. No. That's not what we do. So you're like, yes. So to do such a video, this is how much I typically charge. Okay? The amount doesn't even matter. You know what we're trying to do? We're trying to get our very first check. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Trying to get our very first check. This is what I typically charge. So listen to that wording very well. And the reason I'm mentioning it more than once is so that you understand, if you want to win with a brand, you need to learn how to speak corporate. You need to learn how to speak corporate. I'm not saying that you need to become like them. No. I'm just saying learn to speak how they speak, because it makes translation very easy. So the reason why I say I typically charge this shows that particular brand that, whatever I'm hoping to do with you, I have done before. And I already have a rate that I have negotiated with other brands and they have accepted before. Please note, this is the time to put a rate that you think is high. Are we together? This is the time to put a rate that you think is high. So what does that mean? It means that if you feel that your brand is worth 20,000 shillings, don't ask for 20,000 shillings. Ask for 30 or 35. An amount that you feel is worth more than you feel you are worth. Just do that as an experiment. So two things can happen with that is, one, someone will see that rate, then they'll be like, okay, we will pay you. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they were willing to spend even more than what you quoted. That happens more times than the second option. Most of the time, the brand has already pre-approved a budget higher than what you were expecting. Understand that. Please understand that. Number two thing they can say when you give them the rate is that, we did not have that amount to spend. This is what we had to spend. So there you have two options. Either you tell them, okay, I'll work with your budget, which I don't want you to do. I want you to do this. If they have quoted, if you had quoted A and they have quoted B, that means that there's a small space between what you want and what they want. Can you be able to move yours a bit and have them move up? Because it is not wise to leave all the money just because they have not reached the rate that we wanted. Because those are possible things. So, for instance, in our case, we said we wanted 40, and they say we only have 30 for this campaign. So you'll be like, so can we be able to do 35? And they'll just go back to their finance and say, yeah, it's possible for us to do 35. Remember, your worth was at 20. That's what you thought you were worth. But because we are asking for more than what we think we are worth, we ask for more. Always ask for more. Okay? I'll get into the nitty-gritties of how you can be able to do per social media platform, maybe in this one, maybe in the next one. But I want you to understand this is how it works. This is how negotiation works. Sometimes these negotiations can even happen on a phone call. It can be a phone call from a brand agency or even the brand itself. Like, we are looking to work with you. Can this work? There's one brand that I will not mention the name because I'm hoping to work with them soon. But there's one brand that one day called me and then they said, we want to give you this amount of money, X. And my brand rate, the minimum at that time, was 10X. Okay? So I asked that person, did you forget to put a 0 on the WhatsApp that you have just sent me? They're like, no, this is what we actually wanted to pay you. And at that point, that's one of the few ones that I've actually said, I can't be able to do that because it was extremely far from where I normally am. Because X and 10X, it's a bit of a stretch for them to try and get to where I am if this is what they're offering me. But if it's a small amount that there's a small difference between you and the brand, go ahead. There's no shame in taking that small amount to build a relationship, to even build a rapport with them, and even just to have a brand pay you. The next thing that you do, especially when you're working with these brands, is always look to do a campaign or to do a long-term engagement. This is really important. And in my own rates, I've actually implemented that because what I typically do and tell brands is that I would love to work with you. I have close to 300 videos that I have done on my YouTube channel. I would love to do a video for you. However, I know the experience I have had with previous brands who have taken the route of one video. What I prefer is to do a series of videos. The more videos I do, the more traction you will get for your brand. Listen to those words very carefully because this is how you will talk to your brands. The more videos we do together, the more traction you'll get for your brand. The more people will be able to trust your brand. But at the same time, for me to be able to do a number of videos with you requires us to work for 3 months or for 6 months together. And the goodness with this is the fact that if I know I'm working with a brand for 6 months, that typically means I have an income for 6 months. I have an income for 3 months. So instead of just making money once and next month I'm wondering, how will I be able to make money? I now have a brand that I'm constantly in talks with that knows this month we are doing this, next month we are doing this, and we are working with this content creator for the next 6 months. So if you get 3 brands that you're working with for 6 months, and even if it's once one is done, another one comes in and like that, then that means I can be able to do 18 months without worrying about an income. Because this is the missing link for so many content creators. We want to be paid. Thank you so much, Yvonne. We want to be paid for just one. I want to do one video. I want to do one reel. I want to do a story. No, that's not what you want. You want campaign. Let's do a campaign. Let's incorporate a giveaway in this campaign so that you're constantly telling people in new and fresh ways about this brand. And what happens is both your brand grows, and then other brands are watching what you typically do. So this is what I want you to understand. Every single brand that you're working with, all their competitors are watching. They're watching what you're doing for other brands. And that will inform them when they want to get in touch with you. They will ask you, we want to see what you've done with other brands. So what I tell them is, this is the information I can give to you. This other information I can't give to you, because this is between me and that brand. And remember, even as you're talking with these brands, there's some information that even if they ask for, you should not be giving. For instance, how much were you paid by the other brand? Of what business is that? Of what I was paid by the other brand? It is none of your business. What I was paid, that is up to me. We are talking me and you right now. That's exactly how it's supposed to be. And so you need to put that distinction. And when you're branding yourself, please, long-term engagement. So what does that mean for a brand like mine? If you come in and just do one video, I'll get one big check, that's it. But that's not what I want. I don't want one big check, hit it and quit it, because what tends to happen is when they pay for one video, they never come back. Because we never get the time to build a relationship between you and the brand and my audience. But then, if we are able to do 5 videos together, 10 videos together, 20 videos together, that's a half a year project. Within that time, you and your brand manager in that company, you've become friends. Because there's always that back and forth. You have made money over that 6 months. That brand you and that brand have been known as you are working together. But then, the next thing is you'll have made good money. Because what tends to happen is, if a brand is working with you for a longer time, they tend to pay you more than if they just came in once and left. And then what happens is, there is a very high chance that even after you've done this 6 months and you've reviewed, because you've been reviewing as time is going on, what will happen is, as that contract is about to end, what typically happens is you can now be able to come in and renegotiate and even get a better rate than the very first one. Why? Because you have shown them the kind of work ethic that you have, the kind of audience that you have, and the traction they have received because of associating themselves with your brand. So in trying to make money with a brand, it's important for you to forget everything you know and start thinking different. It's not about instant money. That's not the way it works. It's about creating a relationship with that brand, because that brand is your source of money. You don't go. This is what most content creators do. They go and kill the goose that lays the golden egg. Instead of going, providing it with food, making sure you're even playing jazz music for it, because you know every single day you'll be getting an egg. Every single day you'll be getting an egg. That's the thing you need to do with your brand. That's the thing you need to do if you're approaching brands. Always approach them with, this is what I would love for us to do together in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months. That even now, when you think about it that way, a company can be able to go back to their finance team and say, I know that we hadn't put it for this quarter, but then we can start working with this content creator from quarter 2. And now we can work with them for 9 months until the end of the year. So money will be looked for. Why? Because we are walking this journey with you until the end of the year. These are the things that you need to think about, especially when you are trying to grow as a brand. Okay? The next thing that you need to do is have a friendship with your analytics. Have a friendship with your analytics. Your analytics is your friend, because that will be the very first question that a brand will ask you. They'll ask you for, what are your views? This is the biggest vanity matrix measure that exists, but they'll ask for it. And if you have low views, please know how to answer why you have low views. I've received that question a couple of times, even with the content that I do, but I always find a way of answering it, and it's a valid answer. Secondly, apart from your views, is your engagement in the content that you do. This is your likes, the comments, the shares. All this is part of engagement. And it's important for you to understand what your engagement rate is. So you take the total number of likes and comments and shares and divide that by the number of views that you have received. The higher your engagement rate, especially for platforms which don't give you that statistic directly, that's something that you need to actually put in. And then you also need to understand who is your audience. Okay? An audience here is audience demographics. This is what that means. Very simple. Audience demographics is, what is the gender of your audience? Are they male or are they female? What percentage is male? What percentage is female? What is their age? Are they between 18 and 24, 25 and 34, 35 and 44, 45 and above? What is their age? And then where do they live? Because all these things are available in your social media analytics. If you go on TikTok, you'll be able to see who is following you, what are their ages, where do they live. I know I even have followers in Nigeria in a place called Abeokuta, because I check my analytics. But most of my audience, of course, is from Kenya. But then all these things are important for you to know. Not just have them written down, for you to know. Because that tells you who is responding to the kind of content that you do. Because if you have an audience, like I saw someone's audience as 91% male, you can't be promoting female hygiene products because your audience is 91% male. And so if you have such an audience, then can you talk about what belts should men wear? What ties can a man wear? Which suits are good for going on dates and which ones to go to the office? How should someone wear when they're going to play golf? That would work when you have such an audience. This helps you understand how to be able to position yourself for particular brands. If you find a brand that talks to men only, then you can actually be able to tell them, the audience that I have, they're all men. So come and advertise in front of my audience. All these statistics, you need to know them and you need to know where to find them. when a brand asks for them. Because there are brands which ask for a screenshot of your analytics. There are some which ask that you share your screen so that they're able to see some of those screen things, although that's not, there is private information there that they're not supposed to see, so a screenshot should suffice. If there is information that you wish to blur out, please, by all means, especially the amount of money that you're making on your back end, brands should not see that. Okay, that's between you and the platform that's eating 75% of the money being brought on the platform. But that's neither here nor there. So these are things that you need to understand about your audience so that when you are speaking to a brand, you know the kind of value that you're already bringing. For instance, my audience is about 60% male, 40% female. And that's very normal in the finance and crypto niche, because typically it's men who are more interested in the riskier investments than women are. Okay, so I'm able to articulate that to a brand because I understand that bit of my audience. My audience is about 30%, between 35 and 44, which means that they have money to spend and they have money to invest. So what does that do to my brand? My brand becomes a little more premium than someone who has a brand that has 35%, between 13 and 18. Understand this, because these are the things that you will need to be articulating so that you can ask for a bigger check. Remember, we are trying to get a bigger check from these brands. So at the end of the day, understanding who your audience is and even creating what are known as customer avatars is important, because this is what the brand understands. These brands have customer avatars. They take time to create those avatars. So for you to understand even terminology like that, for you to be able to articulate your statistics to them like that, that puts you at a good footing than other people that they are looking to work with, that they are looking to start working with. So because you understand these things, you are able to get a better check, get a better deal with them, and you're able to work with more brands than people who don't understand these things. The next thing that you need to be able to articulate to a brand is why you are getting what you are getting. Okay? It's not enough just to send a screenshot of these are my demographics, these are my views, these are this. You need to understand how to be able to defend what you have. Because remember, this is a cat and mouse game between you and finance department, not even the marketing guys that you're talking to. Finance department at that company. Because the work of the finance guys is to make sure they spend the least amount of money as possible. And for you, it's to try and make as much amount of money as possible from every interaction that you get. Ceteris paribus. All things held constant. So now with this, when you are speaking now to this particular brand, you know, this is the reason why I get this. So I'll give you a good example. This is what happens for me all the time. So when you go on my YouTube channel, you'll find, hi Ban, hey, this guy, very, very huge guy here on TikTok. So when you go online to my YouTube channel, you'll find there are some videos that have 300 views, 200 views, 700 views. Some have 260,000 views. But whatever the brands see, the only thing they see is, so why do your videos get 200 views and yet you have 48,000 subscribers? I have an answer for that. That you can even customize for your audience. Listen, this is what you tell them. I know that is what happens. Typically, and for me, there are two reasons. One is that The audience I have is a mixed audience. I may be talking about some things that other people are not interested in, and they're still part of my audience, and so they will not respond to those videos immediately. Number two, I understand the way the current financial market is and the investment market is. Rarely are people talking about the same things I'm talking about, so that topic is not top of mind for so many people. And I know even I can, like on my YouTube channel, I can be able to do the same video twice. Same video. I kid you not. I can do two videos, the same topic in the videos, but the way I have put that thumbnail and the title of that video, and they will perform very differently. Same topic. There's actually one video that I uploaded twice, performed very differently both times. So these are part of the things that I need to understand. How do I answer a brand when they come and ask that question? And you need to not be afraid of being asked questions and not being afraid of taking the time to actually understand the question before you answer it back. Because typically this is what happens. And I want to close with some of the tips on communicating with a brand. This is what typically happens. When you receive that first email from a brand, it's important first to ascertain that it is actually from an actual business. Most of the communication you will receive towards you for brand collaborations may be a hoax, may be a scam. This is a sad part of becoming a content creator. Every single day in my own email, I get at least two emails that tell me we want to work with you. Most of the time, both emails are scams. So I need to ascertain that I am not talking with a company that can scam me or a company that wants to steal my email address, because the biggest issue people don't know is the bigger your audience gets, the more scammers try and target you. So take that out of the equation. I'll get 40 emails a week, and 2 are from an actual brand that is a genuine brand that actually wants to work with me. So what I'll do is this. When I receive an email, if I receive an email right now, like I received one 2 days ago. Hi, Winfred. I received an email 2 days ago. And typically, because I've connected my phone to my brand email, when I receive that email, it comes as a notification. So when a brand sends me an email, immediately I can be able to see it and read it, and sometimes even know whether it's a real brand or not. Okay? But, and this is a big B-U-T, but I do not respond back to a brand immediately. Please note, do not respond back to a brand immediately. This is what we are trying to do, because you are a content creator who is busy creating content. You cannot have received an email at 11:10 and then have replied it back by 11:30. That means that there was nothing you are doing, and you are just waiting for these guys to get in touch with you so that you can answer their email back. That's something you didn't know. So now what we do is this. I've read the email, and then I understand what they are looking for, And I can even answer it back if I have the time at that particular moment. I can answer it back, even with the rates that they're looking for and things like that. But typically don't send back the rate card in the first email. So you'll answer all their questions that they had and then schedule out that particular email to go out the next day. Okay? Because this person who's working in the office, typically they're actually expecting you to get in touch with them the next day. Okay? So now in your email, there is, so the reason why we don't respond immediately is because we also want that brand to know we are busy people. Okay? And then they also need to have an expectation of how fast communication happens between you and them over email. Because there were things that you were doing on that particular day and you were not expecting to hear from them. Okay? They have done a cold email. So the cold email that gets to you does not get a yes immediately. It requires you to sit down, read it, analyze, look at why or if I should be able or if I want to work with this particular brand. And so typically what you will do is you will usually answer these emails either at the end of that particular working day or on the next working day as a first thing. So I'll schedule out my email to go out at around 8:10 for the next day. Okay? So what that will do is when that person is coming into the office the next day and they're getting into the office at 8 or 8:10, 8:30, this is usually the first thing they do. They check their emails. And when they check their emails, your email will be the very first one that they see as a most recent email. Okay? So that will actually show you, and then they can be able to respond very quickly, and they know that if we send an email today, we'll get an email reply tomorrow. If they want to reach you much quickly, they can call you. Okay? So it's important for you to show a brand that you're busy, my guy. You're busy. Because this is what happens. The brands, the content creators who are busy are usually the ones who get more work. The content creators who are idle will not get any more work. That's typically the way it works. Why it works like that, I have no idea. And then, please make sure that you spell check all your emails. Please spell check your emails. And then, if you are doing these emails to them, have an extension like Grammarly, even the free one, and just be able to make sure that everything of yours is grammatically correct before you send it out. Because it is the worst thing to ever happen if someone decides they cannot work with you because you don't know where to put there and there. Right? So it's important for you to always learn these things. And secondly, note that communication, the way communication works is email is a bit slow. You have WhatsApp. So you see with WhatsApp, you can't ignore. If you've opened the WhatsApp, you have to respond. Okay? So you can't keep on postponing that because they'll know, with the blue ticks and the gray ticks and all things like that, they'll know you have read their WhatsApp. The other thing to note is there are some companies that prefer to talk over Telegram. They'll send you the email and then they'll tell you, we want to talk to you on Telegram. This is especially with Chinese companies. I noticed that. And Telegram is actually one of their primary modes of communication than email. So if the brand wants to take the communication to Telegram, by all means, let's go to Telegram. But then, of course, please make sure that you're keeping the communication formal. Don't get relaxed because you're on Telegram. Now you forget you're talking to a corporate, right? You're talking to their representative, yes, on Telegram, but you are talking to a corporate. So someone asked about how do you price your rates? This, I think, should have its own class, right? Because there are some things that I think are important when you're doing this, but we'll deal with that in the next class. This itself is important for you to understand, and what I'll do is I'll take this video and put it up on YouTube just the way it is, so that you can be able to go and watch if you just came in a little later. And then you can be able to understand now why it is important for you as a content creator to make yourself be more presentable to brands. Because this is the experience I personally have with brands. Le Boss, just the same name that you see up here. If you go on YouTube, you'll see a YouTube channel with the same name. This is what I know. If a brand gets in touch with me and then we get to the point that they want to have a meeting, whether it is online or it is a physical meeting, all that, when we have that meeting, I know I'll close that client. Because from where I sit, I put myself in their shoes and I ask myself, so what question would they ask me? So now, if that is a question that they would ask me, what would I answer? So I ask myself all the questions they would answer before they are ever asked. And then we get into the meeting and we close the meeting, right? Let me answer the questions because it's about time for me to close this. Can I come live with you? Hey, you people. What? Hey, me, it's Bao. Is it Baun? African, eligible ingine within 3 minutes. It happens. Made that mistake with my first. So now, let me tell you this. When you are, what did I want to say about communication on email? Something just escaped my mind. I was reading so this comment says, so true on that email part, made that mistake with my first client, and they had a thought but it just escaped. So I actually want to close the live. So actually I was reading my email. So even when you read the email, please schedule it out. Even if you're going to schedule it out for afternoon, something like that, so that it's not immediate. When planning to start content creation, what is that first thing that you should not do? Amazing. Do this. Please go on my YouTube channel right now. The very latest video I have done, I asked content creators a similar question. And then they answered that question, right? So just go on and look at that. I send and reply to emails at midnight. Yes, this is actually the thing I wanted to say. So, Le Boss, even when you answer them, don't send them. Schedule them out to go out in the morning, even if it's at 7 a.m. or at 8 a.m., especially with people you're in the same time zone with. It's just a perception thing. It's just a perception thing. And it's important for you to be able to create the correct perception with that person. So even if, like right now, even if I work on something, because even right now, the reason I'm going off is there's an article I need to finish. So even if I finish it, I'll schedule it out to go at 7 in the morning. So that person will see the email was sent at 7 in the morning. That's all you want. How do you avoid copyright claims about music? Depending on what you do, I don't know what you do. Do you do reactions or things like that? If you're doing reactions, you will get copyright claims. The only thing that you need to make sure is that you transform the piece that you're doing enough so that you don't get a copyright strike. Because you can't be re-uploading other people's work, you need to transform it. Z Wellness, do you coach one-on-one? Yes, I do. Just get into my DMs and I will be able to do that. My name up here, MUMO. Please go there to the YouTube channel. Setting boundaries with clients on communication can be tricky when starting out. Imali, it is true, but state it out early enough so that they know exactly. Ban, you have my number, so just get in touch with me. We can be able to do something together. Okay, we can be able, because I typically don't go live with people. I think that's something that I hadn't said. Because I know you, we can plan a live, and it's a bit late for me. I just need to finish something out. So let me answer this. Setting boundaries with clients on communication can be tricky when starting out. So this is what I usually tell my clients. I tell them I work between this time and this time only. And even when I see your message at night, don't expect me to answer it immediately because I do not carry my work home. And it's just, it may look rude at the start, but even for them, when they're at home, they're at home. And even for you, you need a life. If you're at home, you're at home. So that you also give attention to the other things in your life. It's not just work, work, work every time. And I'm saying this and I'm working. But it's important to actually do that, right? Good. So allow me to do this. Allow me to end the live here. I will actually put this up on YouTube as well so that you guys can be able to rewatch if you need to. And also for the audience there to see that. And I'm really grateful for the time that you have spent with me today and for the very many good questions that we've had here today. And my hope this year, this is what my hope is, that you can be able to make more money as a content creator. That's what I want. That's all I want. Making sure that you make more money. And when you make money, please don't be stingy. Don't be stingy. Have a good night, everyone.